Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices, and starting with the DAX here on the daily chart. I've got two counts for the DAX. We've got this particular triangle pattern here, and I've got also a more bullish count as well. So we'll go through both of them as we have been going through them. And with this particular count here, the daily chart, we've got wave 3 over here with an A wave here, a B, a C, a D wave here, and an E wave here. So still a complex correction to move on through. So let's move in and have a little bit of a look at that. So on the 4-hour chart here, we're looking for, in this case here, just squash this in a little bit. Okay, so we'd been looking for this. We had a lot of complications with this here, and this is why I've got a few different sort of counts. I mean, it's possible to have either of these lows here as lows. Obviously the middle one here is the low, but this one over here really counts as quite a nice low as well, by the by. But anyway, I'll just leave that there for the time being. So the move up through here appears to be in it just depends on where you take the low from, really, but we were looking for an A wave here, a B wave, a little A wave here, a B wave up here, and then a C wave down here to make this B wave here, and then a move up for wave C here of D, and then a 3-wave structure here. So let's drill in a little bit closer here onto the 1-hour chart here, and this is my bullish count now, so we won't go there just yet. We'll just have to stay. That's my alternative count too. We can have a look at this too, actually. So as an alternative count for wave D here, we can look at this as wave A here, wave B here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, moving up into the 50-60%. We're already at the 50% retracement level here, but this count here, which I kind of liked, was my original count, can come up to the 12.8 area through here. Okay, so just going back to the 4-hour chart here, the 4-hour chart really would need, if this was going to be correct here, which is probably not the case, but not that it has to stay under the A wave here. It's just that it's above the 60. Currently, it's above the 61.8% mark here. That's why it's triggered some long trades here, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But it still can move up here. But even so, this little move up here would be 1 and 2 here, 3rd wave here, 4th wave here, 5th wave here. So we're bringing it up quite high here. So it's probably not the case. So if this was going to be changed in any way, this particular count, it would be changed in that this B wave would already be in here, and we'll be looking for the C wave up here. That's the way that would pan out at this particular point in time, but that doesn't sort of interest me that much at the moment. The move up does interest me here. So on the bullish count we've got here, which is, just squash all this back up here. This is wave 3 here with wave 4 here, and this is wave 1 here, an A and a B and a C wave here. And the more that this moves up here and overlaps the A wave here, then it helps confirm that this is actually an A and a B and a C wave here, and we do have that in the triangle pattern, but it can also be counted in this particular way as well here. So and then if we take this as the low here, then we have a 5-wave move up into this space here, the retracement here, and so on. So we can actually look to go along here. So I'll take this concept here into the 1-hour chart here, and with the 1-hour chart here, it's coming back here. See, it takes this down here as wave 3 here, an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here for wave 4, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. I kind of like this one here, then we have 5 waves up into this structure here, then a retracement. So this move here We looked at, last time we spoke, we had this up here. We were looking to have this up here, and then we've got the second high here. So I brought that down this morning, but about, what's the time now, 15 minutes ago, this has popped up through here already. So it was a bit quick for me to give that message out. But yeah, I mean, anybody watching and knowing the levels and how we bring things down from one level down to the next top, should know that. But just and also we had this here as well from last week. So, but we wanted this number to become a retested resistance. We can't trade short above 500, above the closest largest number. It's just not the right thing to do. So in this instance here, even if we look at this, even if I looked at this as an A wave here and a B and a C to here, it would still have this as 1 and 2 here and 3. So we'd still have this to go up here further, you know, so it's going to come into these tops here. And then if I took this one here as 1 and 2, then it would just make all of this the third wave to this point. We'll still have a fourth and a fifth to go here. So yeah, it's got that bullish thing, so we can't go short here, so going long at this point here, and then you can bring the stop up under, because it shouldn't come back and test these lows here now. I mean, if it does, then it's bearish, so you'd be on the wrong side of it at that particular point. So we'll just lock that in there to help with that a little bit. The AEX was kind of in the same situation, and I think we were looking for, we had, just to sort of summarize it here, we were looking for counting this up here as wave A here, or wave 1 last time we spoke, and wave 2 and wave B pulling back into the 50-60% retracement level. So we could see that, I was on the tick chart here, I think we looked at, wasn't it? Maybe I'll just have a look back. Yeah, because I think last time I spoke and noticed that this was just vibrating across this 560 here. So a break above that was the aim, but it's still part of this particular trend here. So in this case, we've got wave 1 here and wave 2 here. So this, where are we here? It's not clear. I can't get a real good count on it, but it's still. Yeah, it's still going to move higher up here anyway. So let me just go back and see if I can pick it up. Anyway, it's bullish. I need to do some work on that, but we've done the right thing here from the Friday. I mean, see, once again, it's hard to call. I mean, B waves are a little bit tricky because normally in a correction you'd have the move up and then you have the A wave down, the B wave pulling back up 61.8% or 50% and then down here. So in this case here, pulling up to here, this is where it should have failed here. So that's why we had to give it a bit of space, but then look for the setup once we got on here. So we did all the right things logically, but this is definitely looking more bullish at each moment here. So in one way or another, we'll be able to grab this, copy this here, and find wave 1 and wave 2 up into this space here for further upside. So I will do some work on that and we'll find that. But it does, each day that this passed here was getting more and more bullish all the time. So that's where we are with that here at the moment. So the next number up here is the 565 area through here. And this will be the same sort of idea with the FTSE as well. So I'll just find that. So yeah, so the interesting thing here is that you know, from this high here, I could count 5 waves down as wave 1, very complicated wave 2, and then 3 here, then an A and a B and a C for wave 4 and 5 here. So then that would leave me with an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here to get to this. But then if we take this high out here, then I would have to put a big cross through this and rule this out as not being correct here. It's still possible that that it is corrective in the way that we could have it as this is the B wave here, and the C wave over here for B, and just a more complicated A, B, C for the A wave, simple B wave, and then 5 waves up here for the C wave, ending pretty soon, really, if that was going to be the case. I mean, it's possible. So while the AEX has got a little bit further to move up as well, then I just want to have a closer look at this, actually. I mean, taking these tops out here was the aim here. So on the hourly chart here, the move that, I mean, if we looked at this as the A, the B, and the C here, which is okay, you know, and then to look at this as an impulse wave to the downside is fine. It can also be viewed as corrective as well, in terms of an A wave here, a B wave up here, and then a C wave in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down here. So this move up here, this one up here, seems to count as 5 waves up here, and the thing that makes it a little bit bullish, as I mentioned last time, is that it's above the 61.8% here. So and it does count 5 waves up here. So I just want to refine this a little bit. So this top could be quite significant, and even so we see a bit of strength here, we still need to go with a bit of caution. We're going to go short under this level here. We can play with that a bit later and move that up, but on the long side here, the move down through here and the move back up here, this is the 50-60% retracement level. This is where it's going to have problems, and we can gravitate that over to the 7,700 here. So I'm thinking that let's just take our time with this particular one, because if this was going to be bullish, it would move up into this space here somewhere, and then it would react from here in 3 waves, and then make its move to the upside here. So then we can bring this here, because we want to be a little bit sure about these things. We're not out of all this corrective mode here yet. So then we can go long once we've got support on the 7,700 area here, and we don't really, I'll just leave this here, we don't have to worry about that just yet, because we would only turn bearish on this if this moved up to here and failed, and moved down here swiftly, and then found found support wherever. Then we could bring it up into this space here and look for the short trade on that side. So we just really need to continue to move in to find the breakout and the safest move to the upside. The MIB here, I just want to start on the weekly here just to bring it into perspective a little bit. In this case, this market is different from the other European markets, as it's had more of a bearish sort of history over here. So when I line this up with the other markets, with the DAX and so on, and the S&P 500, we're looking at this low as wave 4 here, and then having one more move up into wave 5 here to finish this. And I'd have to label it as an A wave and a B wave here and a C wave here if I was going to line it up with the rest of the world. The rest of the world is not all of the world, but the S&P and the DAX are in more of a bullish scenario. So I think it's best labeled like this. But you know, if it's going to be completely wrong, well then this would be wave 1 here, because we've got 5 waves here. So this would be wave 1 and back for wave 2, and then all of this here up for wave 1 and back for wave 2. So not that it matters at this particular point, all of this, but you know, I have to take the first logical step with things, and this is where it would be. I mean, the other interesting point here too is that from the low of wave 2 here up to wave 3 here, where we've already pulled back to the 38.2%. So we're not really likely to go lower here. You know, it's basically done its thing. I've done a bit more work on all of this internally, but I still need to double check my work, so I'm not going to go into that today, but I will continue to do that, because I really need to figure out if wave 3 here is actually this top or this top here. So a little bit more work to be done on this, but yeah, just to point out that as a wave 4, it's already pulled back to its thing, so it can move higher from this point, you know. So we need to find logical ways to move with all of that here. So one of them is this current move up through here is actually in 5 waves, so we could take that top out here and go along from that point. We don't want to go you know, with the levels here, we've got 20,000 as a major level, then 21, 22 and 23, which make up minor group 1. So if we were going to go along here, as probably mentioned last time, we'd really want to be on top of the closest largest number, because if it was going to fail from here, then that's where it's going to fail from and move down from that point. So I can count 5 waves down here, but that could just be wave 1 and back for wave 2 at this point, and then wave 3, 4 and 5, pulling it down to here. So I mean, all of this here is you know, is under the influence of this number here. So I would need evidence of, you know, that's the resistance, the support here that's now turned resistance. So to be long here, we really would want to see this back sitting on the 22 here at this stage. So just moving in here to the 4-hour chart. So I have labelled it here as wave 5 of C or 4 here, but I can't prove that yet, right? So don't go throwing tomatoes at me just yet, but what we really want to be doing is looking for the setup. So I know that this little move up here is an impulse wave of 5 waves, so we could label this as wave 1 and back here as wave 2, because it has pulled back to the 61.8%. But what I do want to see is that I do want to see it sitting on the 22 here as support, and then we can look to be on the long side of that point. So at this stage, in terms of longer term trends, we've got this top and this low here, and of course we will get better positions than that, but it's just to sort of give us a bit of a guide stick, because we're certainly working across, this market is certainly vibrating across this number here, and it has really sort of spent its time in that thing. So it's either going to break lower from here or it's going to move up from here. So on the hourly chart here, this is where we talked about it before a little bit. We know that working with the 22,000 here, we know that group 1 above, like 1, 2 and 3 above, is basically holding it down, and the group 2 here supporting it and holding it up. So this is our range here for this particular number here. So in this instance here, we know that we can go long above this high, we can go short below here. We've moved the entry for the short trade up to this point. I just want to leave it here for the time being, because yeah, there can be some more testing in here. So on the long side here, this move up here can count as wave 1 and 2 here, and then I would need to look at all of this being wave 3 up here, with this being wave 4 in here. So I'm expecting it to move higher here. So we do want to see it move higher, but even if it does move higher, at some point, maybe when it gets to the 100, maybe when it's below that, I'm not sure, but at some point, if it does move up through here, it is going to fold back here, because then this here will become 5 waves up here. It will be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and then we would have an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here. So this top here that I'm talking about will be, if I can just even move that now, to be the top of this one here, and then we'll be able to grab that, and then we'll be able to put that here. If it does drop below because what we'd be looking for then is that once we do have those 5 waves in place here, then we'll be looking, or do it here, then we'll have those 5 waves in place, then we'll be looking for the market to pull back again, bit of a process, back into this space here, the 50-60% retracement level. So if I can just remove these things here now. So it can move back to here before moving up. So that's probably a better looking picture of what it is here. So then we can grab, move that here. Because it's just about, it's all about the setup. We're not really losing anything, because even if we went long here, we're still going to end up with the market back here. So we're better off, you know, being a little bit patient and waiting for that. So really it's about this topping out here, then folding back, and then finding support on here, and then we can go long from that point. And in the meantime, we'll leave this 21,720. If that becomes a retested resistance for whatever reasons, then we definitely need to be on the short side from that point. Okay, but yeah, so it's a bit of a rock and a hard place here. We just need to wait for this to fall into place, so to speak. Yeah, so I'm not saying that we're going to go higher or we're going to go lower. We're just looking for the right pattern, internal pattern here, to set us up for being either long or either being short here at this stage. But I can see from here, knowing the other markets as well, we should see 5 little waves pushing us above the 22,000 area. That will be, obviously that's a strong resistance there as well. So it's there's no real trading within this space here at the moment, but it's getting there. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.